first thing we're going to do is find, if you look at the formulas for double angle and half angle, they're on your formula sheet. Go ahead and go to that page. They're on the right side, the right column of that first formula sheet, trigonometric identities. And the sine of 2 theta, there's only really one way to find the sine of 2 theta. You see there's just one formula? Since there's a lot of cosines and sines, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write down what the cosine of x is and the sine of x. Okay? I got it. So sine of x, we already know that sine of x is negative 4/5, right? Cosine of x is going to be what? What's the cosine of x going to be?
Negative 3/5 or 3/5?
It is negative 3/5. How do we know it's negative 3/5? Because
Because
all students take calculus, the only positive ones in that quadrant are tangent. But sine and cosine are both negative. You remember that? Don't forget what you already know. So now we're going to put them in the formula. Sine of 2 theta equals 2 sine of theta cosine of theta. And here we just plug and chug. 2 times negative 4/5 times negative 3/5. And that is 24/25. So you pick your poison. I don't care which formula you pick. You just make sure you know what you're doing with it. So cosine squared of theta minus sine squared of theta, we can use that one. Cosine of 2 theta is cosine squared of theta minus sine squared of theta. Well, the cosine of theta is negative 3/5. And the cosine squared of theta means negative 3/5 squared. And then the sine squared of theta is negative 4/5. And we're going to square that too. So that gives us 9/25 minus 16/25. Everybody understand what I'm doing? Which equals negative 7/25. 1 minus cosine of x over 2, all under the hood, okay? So we're just going to plug and chug here. And this is where it gets a little bit, you have to kind of pay attention. So sine of x over 2 is equal to, let's leave the plus or minus alone right now, 1 minus negative 3/5 over 2, which is equal to 1 plus 3/5, which is 8/5 over 2, all under the hood. Does everybody get that? And dividing by 2 is like multiplying by 1/2. So that's the square root of 8/10, I believe, which is the square root of 4/5, which is 2/5. Everybody follow me there? The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 5 does not come out of the hood. How do I get the radical out of the basement? So it's 2√5/5. Since x is in the third quadrant, when you cut it in half, it's going to end up in the second quadrant. So anything in the sign in the second quadrant is going to be positive. So it's going to be a positive 2√5/5. You understand how to figure that out? So we're going to plug the numbers in. And we don't know if it's plus or minus. We're going to think about it in a minute. So I'm going to just leave the plus or minus off of it for now. And we're going to have 1 plus negative 3/5 over 2, which is the square root of 2/5 over 2, which is the square root of 2/10, which is the square root of 1/5. Everybody get that? And that's going to be the square root of 1 over the square root of 5, which is 1 over √5. Remember the √5 and √5. So the cosine of theta over 2 is √5/5. Now we have to decide if it's positive or negative. What is the cosine in the second quadrant? All students take calculus. So the cosine of x over 2 is going to be a negative, because in the second quadrant it's going to be a negative. I'm going to teach you how to check these, and it's not going to be hard if you listen to what I'm saying, but I know this angle's in the third quadrant, and I know that it's negative 4/5 is the sine of x, right? But remember when I told you that your calculator will never get an angle in the third quadrant, right? So if you hit second sine, if the sine of x is negative 4/5, and you do second sine of negative 4/5, what do you get? Go ahead and tell me.
53.
Huh?
Negative 53.
-53. Even?
No, just a very.
Give me 2 decimals.
1, 3.
Okay? So negative 53 is right here. Everybody understand that that's negative 53 degrees? So what would this angle be? If this is 180 and I need to move down 53 degrees, what I'm going to do is take 180 plus 53. What is that? Go ahead and tell me.
233.
That is what x is. What did I get for the sine of 2 theta?
24 over 25.
What did I get for the cosine of 2 theta?
Negative 7 over 25.
What did I get for the sine of x over 2?
2 root 5 over 5.
And what did I get for the cosine of x over 2? Root 5 over 5?
Yeah.
Okay, and that was negative?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. 2 theta is 466.26. What is the sine of 466.26?
It is 0.96. I'm guessing we're calling a fraction.
And what is 24 divided by 25 on your calculator? It's really close.
Yeah.
You can check it. What is the cosine? You can check all of these. You understand that? But you got to position it in the right quadrant or you're going to get the wrong signs. You might get the right answer, but you'll get the wrong signs. So check your work. You can get 100 on this homework if you check your work.